Today's guest is a product manager at Cryptocur Podcast Agency. He's a graduate of Colorado State University, where he studied communication, journalism, and related programs. Welcome to the show, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the introduction, Toby. Been looking forward to come on this. I think we had it scheduled for like a month now, so I've been really excited. And here at Kitcaster, we just do a lot of things, all things podcasting, and we've had a pleasure working with you and your show. So yeah, it's my pleasure to come on your show and talk about anything we want.
Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this also, like since the 1 month ago that we scheduled this. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Mirror Talk. I would like to appreciate you also for your awesome work that you do at Cryptocur Podcast Agency. But before we talk about Cryptocur, please can you share a little bit about yourself, about your life journey so far?
Sure, yeah. So I'm 25 years old. Right now I'm living here in Denver, but I grew up in New Jersey, just outside of New York City. So up until I went to college out here in Colorado, I was over there on the East Coast, just living, doing my thing. I started really getting into technology and entrepreneurship in college. So I've started a few companies and gained a lot of product managing experience. And that's how I found myself in my position here at Kitcaster, which I'm the product manager of the podcast guest list, which you know about. And we'll talk more about that later. But I'm just kind of an adventurous person. I love to do, action sports. I love to create things, photography, videography. I love to write. Really just anything that, gets exciting and looks cool. I love to share it with people. I have like a photography page on Instagram, and I have my companies that I've started, which I think are exciting and new, and really just bring people, new perspectives and just looking to improve other people's lives as well, which is the content that I share and the products that I create. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm all about.
I read that you have always lived your life to, make other people happy. You live your life on a pursuit to make other people happy, to give them joy in their lives. So can you explain this to me? What brought this inspiration to you, and what do you do and how do you make other people happy? You mentioned your companies already, but what is the the content of the company that makes other people happy?
I think it's just because making other people happy kind of makes me happy, and I love to see somebody get excited about something or learn something new that they hadn't thought about or hadn't seen before. And with my tech companies, they focus on cryptocurrency, which a lot of people are just starting to learn about now, and they're getting excited about it. So being able to help in that shift and that education is something that has been really exciting for me. And I love to see people, I love to see when people, realize it and grasp it and get what's so good about these like new technologies and things. And then also in terms of my like content creation and kind of adventurous lifestyle that I've been living, I love to just introduce people to new ways to like have fun and like do cool things like skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, adventure, like climbing, hike, whatever it is, and just show people that you don't just have to sit around all day and be on the computer or play video games. Like you can go out and do stuff. Although there's nothing wrong with any of that. There's so much out there to do, and I love to share that, and I love to through my photography as well, just paint different pictures for people to see and get people to look at things in a different way, like a way that they might not expect. Like that's one of my favorite types of photography to do. It's kind of like a little bit abstract, but something that you might see every day, but just looking at it from a different angle in a way that is new and exciting.
Yes, that's very awesome. And apart from, you're doing photography and, creating content, talking about cryptocurrency also, like educating people on that, you also do this awesome job at Kitcaster, and which is also one of the ways you are fulfilling your goals, which is to, leave a mark on this world that nobody will frown about.
Definitely.
So for listeners out there, what is Kitcaster and what do you do as a product manager at Kitcaster?
For sure. So I'll start off with Kitcaster. We're essentially a podcast booking agency. We take top entrepreneurs, funded startup founders, CEOs, executives, and we place them on qualified podcasts that can help them to spread a message and talk about, their companies, their products, the messages that they want to share in a great and effective way that gets their message across and also helps them to, drive engagement and reach new customers and things like that. So we work with a ton of different podcasts, yours including. We're always finding new ones, and the clients that we typically serve have very specific industries that they're a part of. But the great part is there's a podcast about everything. So if we have somebody who's talking about an AI chatbot, for example, we have great relationships with a bunch of shows who love to talk about that type of thing. Or if we have somebody who's more of like a health and fitness expert, dietitian, we have podcasts in that area. So essentially what we've created is this network of podcasts, great shows in all different sort of verticals and industries. And we take our clients who are looking to get placed on those shows for exposure, and we get them on there. So that's the main thing that Kitcaster is about. We have two sides to our company right now. It's an agency side, which that's when a client will come on and get a specific agent that pitches them to very, specific shows for a campaign. And then we have the podcast guest list side, which I'm the product manager of, and you've had a lot of experience using it before. It's essentially a list of different types of guests who are looking to go on to shows, and podcast hosts, it's free for them to use. They could just hop on there and send an invite to any guest that they like, that they think would be great for their show. And the platform simply just makes the connection between them, and they can schedule a recording whenever they want to.
Dear friend, you can grow your personal and business brand by creating a strong network through podcasting. Create real human connections, have the ability to share your story and interesting point of view. To get started, you can make use of the special offer for friends of this podcast, which is on kitcaster.com/mirror. kitcaster.com/MIRROR. The link and further instruction or details will be found in the show notes for this episode. Thank you. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or whatever platform you listen to this on. Thank you. Can you educate us on podcasting? What is the importance of podcasting at this day and age?
We've seen so much growth in podcasting just over the past year. Kitcaster itself is just under maybe 2 years old, or probably about a year and a half old at this point. So we're a generally new company. We're a startup. And even since we've started, we've seen podcasting grow like exponentially. And, we think that the best way to spread awareness about your brand is through, genuine conversation, like word of mouth marketing. So if somebody comes on a show and has, a sophisticated tech product or something that's really specific, but they get placed onto podcasts that focus on just those things, all the listeners of that podcast are their direct, customer base and the clients that they're looking for. So it's just a great way to make connections to like-minded people and, spread messages in a targeted, really effective way.
Can you share some tips on how to successfully develop a product which is marketable?
To answer your question, how to start a new product, what product management's like, it's a lot of testing, it's a lot of research, figuring out what people like and don't like, and then just a lot of refinement to your product and seeing how you can make it better.
I would love to switch from podcasting to currency. At this day and age, everyone is looking into digital currency, NFTs, and cryptocurrency.
Yep.
But for a layman out there, can you educate me on blockchain? What is that, and what is digital currency? What is cryptocurrency?
Sure.
What's it all about?
Definitely. Okay, so yeah, I know that I have kind of a wide range of things that I'm involved in. So when we go from podcasting to blockchain, it might be a big jump for the listeners. So I'll try to make it as as easy to understand as I can. But essentially what a blockchain is a distributed, a shared database. So let's say I had a database on my computer, right? If my computer is the only place that that database is stored, then somebody could hack into my computer and change whatever they want, right? Does that make sense? But
Yes.
a distributed database, what they say in blockchain, a distributed ledger, is a database that's spread out across hundreds of thousands of computers all around the world. So with Bitcoin, for example, there's got to be, hundreds of thousands of nodes on the network, which means that a node is something that is storing the entire database of Bitcoin, which in a cryptocurrency space, that database holds the transactions, right? So it holds everybody's account balances, and when someone sends a new transaction, it holds the record of that. And in that sense, since it's spread out on all these computers all across the world, it's basically impossible to hack, right? Because it might be easy for somebody to hack one computer, but to be able to hack the Bitcoin network, you'd have to hack hundreds of thousands of computers all around the world, and it's virtually impossible. So that's kind of the core idea behind what blockchain is, this distributed database of information. And whenever a new transaction gets added to Bitcoin, it gets confirmed off of every node on the network. So everybody has to say, okay, this is real. Or if a fraudulent transaction tries to get pushed through, you have hundreds of thousands of computers coming back, using these complex math problems through a process called mining, which that it's a little bit more advanced, but basically they can say, no, this transaction is fake. This is not real. And it's extremely secure. It's arguably more secure than the current ways that, the world's banks do their transactions. So it's really promising, and there's so many more projects out there besides Bitcoin that are, making, great technological advances in transactional technology. And yeah, I think it's the way of the future, kind of. So I see no other way for it to go. I mean, it just makes so much sense.
Is it safe for everyone to, invest in it? And how can one invest into it?
Sure. So, I'm no financial expert, but there's plenty of ways and methods for people to invest and to make money off of their investment, to make capital gains. But it depends on which regions you're in, what country. Even in the United States, it comes down to what state you're in, which exchanges that you can use to buy cryptocurrencies. But for example, one of the largest exchanges in the United States is Coinbase, which I'm sure maybe you've heard of before. And it's really simple. You can just hook up your bank account and transfer some money onto the platform, and then through the platform, the exchange, you would buy a cryptocurrency for US dollars using a trading pair. Like either you would buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. There's so many that you can do. I would never really, advise anybody to buy anything in particular, because I'm no expert, and I don't want to give any financial advice. But there's thousands of cryptocurrencies out there, and a fair amount of them are bound to go up in value, and that's just in my eyes, it's inevitable. But other people may disagree. But I think what we've seen in the past year is a gigantic rise in the prices of cryptocurrency. And if we look at and compare it to things like the .com bubble back in the 90s, it looks very similar. And maybe bubbles do pop or whatever, but ultimately the price goes up over the long run.
So a lot of people got to know about cryptocurrency quite late, and so in the mind of a lot of people now, or in my mind also, in order to avoid this mistake from happening next time, like how can we stay current with the latest technology products that are in market? Like how can we know when the next thing is on? And how can we know which of these technology products that is suitable for us, for example? Are there methods to know that?
Sure. So I personally don't think that it's too late to get involved in cryptocurrency. I still think we're very early in the game. These things have only been around for maybe close to like 15 years at this point, maybe a little bit longer possibly. But I still think it's very early. And what I look for when I'm looking for a new technology or token or something like that to invest in is just, you know, all of these products have, or projects, I'm sorry, have, websites, and they have teams behind them. These things are real. They're real companies. It's not just like you're sending your money out into the ether on the internet and it's going to disappear. Like, although, you got to be careful because there can be scams and things like that. But, I look at it just like anybody would look at a company that they're investing in the stock market. There's reports, there's business plans and everything. And what I look for before I invest into a cryptocurrency is an idea or a use case that I think is going to be beneficial in the future. And, there's tons of like different applications, like you were talking about NFTs before, and there's different types of networks or transactional currencies, which is like what Bitcoin is, where it's basically just used to send money. There's so many different types of products, and what I look for is something that I think will, in the long run, be useful, or just a great, like, cool idea that's fun. Like Decentraland, for example, is like a super cool, like, online virtual world, an ecosystem that, like, in the future, people are buying virtual property in this, and in the future, it's going to be this online, like, eco landscape that you can, be a part of and be in. And I just think that's a really cool and fun idea. So, like, yeah, I put a little bit, a couple bucks in there just to see what would happen. And, the price of the coin is just, it's going up steadily. So there's so many different, real world use cases. I'll talk about another one, for example, which to me is just a great real world use case. And like I said, it's not any financial advice. Everyone should go look up these things and see what they believe in and think will be a good idea for themselves when they want to pick something to invest in. But there's another one called Helium Network, and it's essentially an Internet of Things network. So the way that it's a little bit different from like Bitcoin and the other things in terms of how it's mined. Basically, you would buy a little, it's almost like a router, like a hotspot, and you plug it in at your house, and it creates a network using radio frequencies around your area. And devices that use the Internet of Things, like, for example, I don't know if you guys have these over in Germany, but like the scooters that you can just scan with your phone and you could drive around like the city or something.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's an example of an Internet of Things device, right? Because it's just out in the world, but it's connected to the internet. This Helium network is creating a network that helps devices like that to run. And I think, in my mind, that's a great use case because we're seeing more and more internet-connected devices coming out. And they also plan to have a 5G network come out. So it would basically be a cell phone network that allows you to connect to the internet, through a network that's run by the people. It's not run by a big media conglomerate or something. Like, it's actually run by the people. And I just think that's so cool, and I would love to be a part of it. So, I got involved in that one as well. And I bought one of the hotspots so that, well, you have it plugged into your house, you're basically earning the currency. So I'm not investing any actual money into it. It's just, it sits there and it runs on the network and it earns the currency for me.
For you. Wow, that's like a source of passive income.
Yeah, definitely. And, there's so many new projects that, people can get involved in to mine. And, sure, there is some risk to it. Like, the network could, eventually fall off and like people don't start using it and the price of the coin goes down. But ultimately, if it's something that you believe in and you think will be good, the more people who support it, the more, valuable it is. And that's just the kind of things that I look for, is something that I think could have big support around the world, and also something that will just be useful and, make sense to me for the future.
The inspiration behind asking this question is, there are a lot of people out there who are looking for ways like or means like this to earn passive income, or looking for ways to invest money or get into the latest technology product, for example, but they are not exposed to the information required to get this done. So that's why I wanted to get from your own pool of knowledge, so you could share with me and also the rest of the listeners who are eager, to get into this but don't know how and why and what way to go up to get into this kind of technology products.
Certainly. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you'll never know about these new products or projects until somebody tells you about it. But the ways that you can go and seek out new things is just through, the internet, which is at all of our fingertips. There's a lot of great databases that are showing all the, when it comes to blockchain and cryptocurrencies, there's one called CoinMarketCap, and it basically lists, every cryptocurrency that's available for you to go and buy on an exchange. And it gives you the information, it gives you the price history, it gives you links to the websites and everything. So I know people who just go on there and they spend hours just reading about new coins, what they're doing, and deciding ultimately if they want to, buy some or not. So that's a good way. Also just following these influencers and, tech experts on, Twitter is a huge information pool, right? Like Twitter, I've found so much new stuff on there. Follow those types of people who are getting this information because it's in their best interest to share it, right? Say
Yes.
Elon Musk, for example, had invested in Dogecoin. It's in his best interest to write a tweet saying, go buy Dogecoin, because the price goes up when he does that and he makes money, right? So, follow these influential people who are involved in the space. And then in that sense, you'll also find, smaller, less influential people who also spend a ton of time just doing research. It's all about finding these new projects through research and just keeping your eyes open. And a lot of times you just have to actively seek it out. My one friend who told me about the Helium network that I just mentioned before, he was just really looking to find a way to get into mining. So he spent days doing research about everything and ultimately found it. And that's how I learned about it, because I heard through my friend. So as long as you keep, networking and talking to people, following people who are interested in the same things and are looking to find new ways to either make money or invest, you should be able to find stuff. And also online forums like Reddit and those types of things. That's the best way. All the newest stuff gets posted on there and spread like wildfire, especially if it's good.
Talking about influence and your knowledge in music production, I'm going to switch back a little bit to something personal.
Yeah.
And that has to do with, the influence on entertainment, for example, music. What do you think entertainment has on us? What kind of influence do you think entertainment, for example, music, has on us as human beings?
Sure. Well, I think that music is kind of a universal language, right? Even if an alien came and landed on Earth, they might be like, what is this? But also, maybe it sounds kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe not an alien, but somebody who doesn't speak my language. For example, if I came to Germany, I could go there and maybe not be able to speak to somebody, but I could play some deep house music, which I know they love over there. And I think that I'd be able to make some friends, because music is a bridge. It's a connection between people. It's in a way to express yourself other than through language and through words. And obviously we use language and words in music as well through lyrics, but beats and sounds have been around since the beginning of time. We see ancient people having created instruments and things like that. I think it's just a universal means of expression, which transcends language barriers. So in terms of how you ask, how does music have an influence on people? I think it does just that. It shows you that there's ways that you can connect to people besides language or besides your common interests. Like, say you were interested in, I don't know, baseball, but I wasn't. Um, maybe we still like the same type of music, and it's just a way to connect to new
Yeah.
people and build new connections. At least that's how I see it.
Yes, yes. And you, as a music producer, do you have like some inspiration or purpose or aim while producing music? Do you have like an intention, you're trying to reach when making the music?
Sure. I think that when I'm making music, the main goal is to just make music that I enjoy, and
Okay.
the intention and the goal is to have people or meet people who also enjoy the music that I enjoy to make. Like, people, if I make something that somebody likes, then I know that I'm probably going to get along with that person because they're into the same thing that I'm into. Also,
Yeah.
I'm always trying to make new things and find a new sound that, sounds unique and might be new for somebody and might make somebody else think of something new. I think, that's what music is all about. And music production in particular is about just making the kinds of music that you enjoy and sharing it with more people and, hoping that they enjoy it too. But
Yes.
even if people
Yeah.
don't enjoy it, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to like my
Yes.
music, but, you know, I might be more inclined to hang out with the people who do like my music. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. And this is quite awesome because you are 25, right?
Yes.
And you've started a lot of companies already. You finished your bachelor degrees already.
Yep.
You are working in a very awesome podcast
Thank you.
agency, and you have so much idea, so much information about cryptocurrency, about other technology products. Also,
Sure.
this is like a kind of story that anyone who is listening to will like, oh, wow, this is awesome. With 25,
Cool.
you can do all of these things.
Yeah.
So are there like other life stories that have changed your perspective on things in life, or have motivated you or changed your mind about different aspects of life?
Oh man. I might need a second to think about that. That's a big question. I mean, everything that
Yeah.
I've gone through in life has influenced me in some way or another. Um, I guess just things that have like I guess given a shift for me is just running into new people out there who are as like-minded as me or involved in something that maybe I hadn't thought about yet, and just inspiring me to try new things. Like, for example, I had never started a company before my junior year in college, and I went and I studied abroad over in Prague to just as a way to, mainly try to meet new people. Like, yeah, studying abroad, you go to class and you learn, but everybody knows that it's more about just learning new things culture wise, meeting new people. So I went
Yes.
by myself. I didn't, want to bring anybody from that I knew from school already. So I just wanted to throw myself into a completely new place. And in doing that, I met a friend of mine, Christoph, who ultimately introduced me to our other business partner, Parker. And, we realized that we're a group of like-minded people who want to start companies, who want to build technology that, helps people, makes people's lives better. So that's when we started working together. They both, Christoph and Parker, already had been working on a project called Fraps, which was the first startup that I was involved in. And then ultimately, we just started coming up with new things. And since then, we must have worked on 4 or 5 different companies by now that we've either started or had friends who have started, and we've seen success in a couple of those. We've been able to do some fundraising, and it kind of just made me realize, like, when at that time I was 20, so it made me see, like, you don't have to be some already successful, powerful person to start a company of your own. Like, I had thought that actually, this is a good one. Okay, so before that time in my life, I had always thought, let me go to college and get like a degree and like a stable job that I can save up money and do stuff. And And then down the line, I'll start making music. I'll start doing the things I enjoy. I'll start making companies. But then once I ran into these people, these guys at age 20 that were very like-minded as me and were already doing, like they were already starting companies, they were already doing what they wanted to do, that just like opened up this, this block in my mind that was like, you don't have to be successful already to start something new. Everybody who is successful or, people who have created these like wildly successful companies, they didn't have the craziest resume beforehand, most likely,
True.
So that was one big thing that really changed my way of thinking, and now that's transcended into other parts of my life in terms of like travel or wanting to go out and try something new. It's like, why not just do it now? I shouldn't wait until later when it's more safe for me to do it now, or like I have more money to fund something. Why not just go into like a little bit of debt on a credit card or something to try something right now? And, obviously take that with a grain of salt. Don't go too far with it. But like, for example, I got approached a couple weeks ago about going on a trip to San Diego, which I've never been there before. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know if I really have the money right now. Like I should save. But then my friend was like, dude, it's like $100 for a plane ticket. Why not? So I'm going to San Diego now, but it's all about just, sorry, I don't want to ramble for too long, but like, if you're not doing it now, who knows if you'll have the chance to do it later.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. So the best time to start is right now.
Exactly. Now. If you think it's too late for cryptocurrency, the best time to invest is right now, because it's not too late. If you think it's too late to start a company that you've been thinking of, the best time to start is right now.
Right now, yes. Yes, that's awesome, Tom. Thank you so much for everything I've been able to learn from you today.
Definitely.
I really appreciate everything I've been able to learn. Definitely. So for people out there who want to like reach out to you and get across to you, I'm going to place your email in the show notes for this episode, and also the link to your SoundCloud in case you want to download your music.
Sure.
And your Instagram page also. Yeah. I think you have two of them. You have two Instagram pages.
Yeah, right? I have one that's just like, post whatever I'm doing in life and whatever. And then I have one where I specifically post like photography. So I can give you anything that you want. I'll send you all that stuff over. And anyone can feel free to reach out to me on any of those things. I don't have a big following or anything. There's not a million people reaching out to me. So like, if you send me a message, I'll see it and I'll respond, and we'll get to talking about whatever it is you want to learn about.
So if there's a word you would love to tell another 25-year-old out there who is, wanting to achieve something in life, what would that word be?
If you want to be successful, I guess just be open-minded. Like, don't shut down any idea without, fully thinking it through and giving it the light of day. Like, if somebody comes up to you saying, hey, I have this idea for, a cool hat that has like a pocket in it at the same time, don't just right away be like, that sounds dumb, because then maybe, in 10 years, you'll see like on CVS or some crazy, place, these hats with pockets getting sold, and, someone can grab that idea and run with it right now, but it's just a random one that I think maybe I heard about in the past. But yeah, just keep an open mind and, don't shut anything out. Don't be like the older people who said, why would I turn my good hard-earned money into internet currency? There's no point in doing that. But now those people realize that if they had done that 10 years ago, there's definitely a point to doing it, right? Like they would have made a lot of money. Yes. So keep an open mind. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful point to end this episode. Yes. Thank you so much, Tom, for your time. Thank you so much for everything I've been able to learn from you. I really appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Toby, for all your hard work. And the show is great. And keep on doing what you're doing.
Wow, you made it to the very end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your time, your love, and your contributions. Subscribe, like, review, and share this podcast. God bless you. Bye.